Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls because I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like him. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.
All right, you ready? Hey, I'm Tyler.
And I'm KC.
And I'm Hunter.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
Look at that cat crossing the road. Look at that cat. What's happening, all my woods people? We are out in Sam Houston, Texas today. I just love lying, guys. I'm a liar.
Oh my goodness!
We are actually
about to be lying in the ditch.
Taking flight.
Hitting these bunks,
guys. We have had a good day, man. It's been we've been out hunting on some public land today. We have been putting in the mileage. We got a couple of dudes that say 7.8 acres. We got miles. We got some dudes saying 8.6, 8.4. We got a 6.5 miles, so we're not sure who's right here. But I am sitting next to everybody's favorite, K.C. Smith. And in the back, just bringing in that caboose, Hunter the Hunter, HTH.
HTH with the big bank.
Hunter?
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you made this trip, man.
I've had a blast. It's
good.
It's been very
I couldn't
enjoyable.
tell. You've been very quiet today.
Man, one of my favorite things to do when I'm not at work is go hunting. Mm-hmm. And probably it's even greater when you pair it with my least favorite thing to do, with walking 8.4 miles in rubber boots. So it's been a great day on average.
Yeah. We're averaging out just slightly above 5.
Hunter's heel hurt. I'm butt hurt. Tyler's
feeling great.
Good.
Honestly. Yeah, I feel good. I got some good sleep last night. I literally went to sleep before 8 o'clock last night.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Look at that swamp rabbit looking thing right there.
Dude, that was a old cat for sure.
Tethered. That was a ditch tiger, wasn't it?
I think so. John McWilliams is the man.
So we've had a good day, man. We got to hang out with our buddy Bam. We got to hang out with Hunter, and we got to hang out with our new friend Chris Webb. And we put a little video together, I think.
Yeah, there's some clips for sure.
We struggled to find groups of pigs.
So struggled to find squirrels too. So we did that old public land hog hunt thing like we're going to do at our get together.
Public land hog hunt.
Yeah. And I've figured out that
we went to a different place, guys. So don't think we burned it out.
We didn't burn it up. We went down to a different spot, but we figured out that singles are tough.
Yeah.
We ran into quite a few singles, one double that Tyler could have probably killed a pig, honestly, but he was like, well, let's make sure we get them. So he called us up, and we tried to hem them up, and they went out the front door on us. So we didn't get any of those. But
I think I could have creeped in real slow and steady and probably shot one at about 25 yards.
That'd been real cool.
It would have been cool, but I didn't have a cameraman. Everybody else had already taken off. And so I just thought, well, if we can all surround them, there may be 10 or 12 of them in there, and there was only 2, I think.
I know, dude. It was crazy. Like, I don't know if people have been in there hunting and busting them up or what, but like we just didn't have like the numbers that I've seen in the past. But you busted those, or we busted that little group of 2 up. One went straight and we lost it, but we knew that one of them kind of went out in this little spot where he couldn't really go anywhere. So we were all kind of going to hem him up. And we got down there where we thought he was going to be hemmed up and didn't see him. And then I thought I heard some ducks like on a little body of water next to us. So I climbed up in a tree to look over the brush to see if I could see them ducks. And there weren't any ducks out there, but there were some dudes who sounded like ducks. And then I turn around. I'm like, what, like 115 foot up in a willow tree?
Yeah, probably.
Something like that.
Yeah, at least.
A little wispy willow. And I think I hear Bam and Chris. And I turn around, and it's a black thing at 20 yards. It's a dang pig walking right at us.
Go, man.
And I say, Hunter, shoot that pig.
Was he walking slow?
He was like moving, but
he trying to sneak out the door?
Yeah, he's trying to sneak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was definitely not like milling around to eat.
Yeah.
And he got to like 10 yards and then locked up. Hunter throws my video camera down in the water and then grabs my shotgun, even though he has his own shotgun, and proceeds to shoot 3 of my very rare and valuable buckshot at this pig. And did draw blood.
Yeah.
He drew blood, and we trailed the pig for quite a while, but ended up not being able to find it. We looked for like 45 minutes for that pig.
We looked for a while, yeah.
So
trailed him for a while,
did
man.
Did our best, you know. But he would have been probably a pretty good eater because he wasn't super big. But that was kind of fun just because I got to see the whole thing from a 15-foot aerial view. You know, you don't get to see that very often. Yeah. And I could see, like, bullets flying through the brush and
I could
like,
feel
throwing dust.
I could feel them.
Tyler was lagging kind of behind us a little bit, kind of trying to make sure none slipped out. And we kind of got a little mixed up as to where he was.
Yeah, I could see.
I don't think he was super dangerous.
I was in the middle, and I could see Bam and Chris squeezing down on kind of this corner.
Yeah.
And next to kind of they were coming kind of by the creek or whatever, and I could see them squeezing down, and I was like, well, I know where. I just saw Hunter and K.C., and so, like, if anything gets squeezed out right here, if it gets squoze, I'm here and I'm ready to shoot it. You know, there ain't really no reason for me to go up into the middle of the mix here when they're going to just come around and meet each other. And as they were coming around, like you said, Hunter got to squeezing off a few buckshots, and the first one, I could hear him cracking limbs out beside me. I just ducked and put my head behind, in front of my body pretty much.
Yeah.
Was like, all right, let's just hope.
And that is why, for our hog hunt, you need to wear your orange and shoot buckshot.
Shoot a shotgun.
Because, we're joking, but it was kind of at that point where if Tyler had been any closer, it could have been kind of dangerous.
I was between. I had a lot of brush between.
You're out of the
guys.
line of sight for sure.
Yeah.
And that's why it's good to have the orange. And then if you're shooting like, an AR, like everybody wants to hunt with pigs, man, those bullets can travel.
Yes.
And that's why shotguns are good for this because, those lead pellets are going to run out of steam pretty quick, but they're really lethal on pigs at close range.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a lot of room where we're going. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. But it's still just one of them deals, man, where I think everybody feel a lot more comfortable if everybody was shooting buckshot as opposed to high sizzlers.
And I know some of y'all are having a hard time finding buckshot. Number 4s or number 2s or whatever you can find kills them real good too, especially at close range.
Especially if they're lead.
Yeah, lead.
Yeah.
I think that's a heavy emphasis there.
Yeah.
But so Hunter drew some blood today. It's his first pig hunt ever. So
yes, it was.
That's a joke.
Hunter. Tell us what you grew up doing, man.
Well,
go ahead and say what you're going to say, though.
He said, "Don't leave me."
To go back just a second on what KC was saying, I had the camera glued in my hands because this willow was not. There was no size to it. The diameter was very questionable, and the weight rating was not high.
I like to push the limits on that for sure.
I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, this is going to be great because the top of that is about to crack out.
This will be great. I'm going to get the CKC dial on film.
and to the part of me shooting KC's shotgun, mine was thrown across my body because I had the camera. And when I went to pitch the camera onto dry land, there was not anything within 10 foot. So I pitched it to the shallowest spot I had.
It probably gave it a softer landing, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I chose. Definitely the shallow water. They say don't dive in the shallow end.
But that's the thing, you know, like for your first hog, you're just so excited, you know.
Just the jitters. I couldn't believe it. And he came in, and when K.C. first saw him, he was at 20 yards, and by the time I made my decision to submerge a camera, he was at about 6 and taking a hard right after seeing me throw something at him. And
he went from slow to fast real quick.
Yes. It was as fast as I could pivot to shoot at that pig.
Hunter covered almost 90 degrees with his 3 shots.
In about...
that's pretty quick shoot.
1.2 seconds?
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, it's something very
pretty good
close.
3-gun time for sure.
So, back to what you asked me, I grew up in Emory, graduated from there, and worked as I went to school through commerce, and got some other internships, and worked some ranches in South Texas and West Texas. And as I grew up, worked on farms, dairy farm, did some miscellaneous stuff, worked at a lure manufacturer in Emory, and had a lot of fun there.
I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
know that.
Yep, worked there for
building magic shads.
Yes, sir. Working.
That's cool.
I believe I worked there for a year and a half.
You smell like
2
garlic
years.
on the
Yeah,
bunch?
he still smells like garlic.
Yeah.
that
Oh my
place.
gosh, I hated that.
Me too.
The garlic's impossible to get out. You have work clothes which you keep separate and just plan to throw those away.
You also did some taxidermy too, right?
I did with my dad. Yes, sir. We did that out of his shop there at the house.
What's the coolest thing you mounted?
Man, there was some triple beam bucks that came in. Those were really cool. We did some cool bobcats, stuff like that.
You ever do a jackrabbit?
No.
I've heard them are tricky.
Never found. Nobody brought us a jackalope. They're really hard to find.
Yeah.
So
They are. They only exist in Texas too, I think.
Yeah, I was hoping somebody would be lucky enough to fill their tag, but I just haven't been able to meet anybody.
Yeah.
Because I would love to do that.
Yeah, that would be a good hunt to go on sometime, man. We ought to think about that.
Yeah,
there's some real trophies out there in the Trans-Pecos region.
It's pretty tough if you're out of state, but in state you can draw pretty easy, I think.
Yeah.
So I grew
basically,
up, hunting and fishing.
Loving every day.
Yes, sir. Just like the song. Man, that is the title.
that was your life.
Yep. So.
Well, did you learn anything in 4th grade?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
That's good.
Did you have his mom?
I did.
That's cool.
One of my very favorite teachers.
Yep. Sweet lady.
Yes.
She makes good pastries and stuff.
She can cook just about anything.
She's pretty
real
good. Pretty good.
Yeah, she is good.
Hunter, we hadn't talked much about this, but my wife has informed me you're a cancer survivor.
I am.
Yeah, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, how'd that go for you?
It was good.
Yeah. What'd you have?
Burkitt's lymphoma. Yep.
So is that the same thing as what people would refer to as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, or?
Yes, it is a class of that.
So it's a specific non-Hodgkin's.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, do you mind talking about that a little bit?
No, not at all. I had a very advanced stage 3.
Ooh.
That was the end of my junior year in high school.
Yeah.
So it was in track season, right before the district track meet, like 2 days before. And what happened was I went in the week before, right before. Gosh, I don't remember what that last meet was, but anyways, went into the doctor and he was like, your appendix has burst. And I was like, oh man, great, I'm about to have surgery on that, and that's no big deal though. He's like, but good news is your body has concealed it and you just have to take these antibiotics. And I was like, I've never heard of that. So he sent me home with just antibiotics to clear a busted appendix. And so anyways, or a burst to be technical, went back, the pains came back like a week later, and it was really severe when I was running. So a lot during track practice, so I went back to the doctor, a different doctor, and he basically, it was my PCP this time. He felt around on my stomach and was like, you need to go to a hospital. So went and got some CAT scans, and they kept me there, admitted me, and it was like, well, we're going to do a exploratory surgery. I was like, okay. So anyways, they were just supposed to go in and get a tissue sample, and I woke up with probably a 10-inch scar going from above my belly button down below to as low below the waistline as you can get. And I believe, a couple weeks I got a port, or it may have been that same surgery. They put in a double port and did chemotherapy for about 6 months, I believe. I got to leave one time and the time that I got to go home, the break they gave me, I ended up in septic shock. So that was not fun. Went back to the hospital that night after being excited to be home.
Sure.
And anyways, finished out my days there, punched my time.
Had Children's in Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah.
So was the cancer from the appendix, or was it prior to all that?
So they don't know. That was one thing they didn't know. It was so Burkitt's lymphoma is a very fast growing. It's like one of the fastest growing cancers there is, and it had developed somewhere around my appendix originally, and then it had taken in part of my intestine. So I'm also missing like 4 or 5 feet of my lower intestine and some very crucial valves. And it went in and then spread to my lungs and some lymph nodes under my armpits, in my neck. Those were treated with chemo and lumbar. I had a lot of lumbar taps and punctures to receive chemotherapy in my spine so that it wouldn't spread to my brain.
Wow.
Dang, things got serious real quick.
Yeah. I was ready to run a track meet.
What were you? Would you run a track?
Quarter mile.
Boy.
Yes, sir. In the 4x4. So
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I loved it.
Really?
Yes, sir.
But you don't like walking 8 miles today?
I'd rather run. Not really. No. That was different back then.
You're not you're not by any means a big hunter or anything, but you're a solid built guy. Were you built like that in high school, or were you skinnier?
No, I was not built like this.
Yeah.
So it was hard to say what I weighed as I graduated. Because the chemotherapy, I went in, I don't know, probably weighing 150 to 60, and when I came out, I weighed about 115.
Yeah.
Golly.
From laying in a bed for 6 months, which isn't nothing to compared to what a lot of other people have to go through. So not trying to get anything there. But then it took me the rest, because I got out, I believe, I'm thinking I got out in August, so right before my senior year started. And I actually started playing football. I still had my port in. And so we had to put some foam pads around that so my football pads wouldn't rub on it. And anyways, it took me the rest of my senior year to get back up to about 160 pounds.
Man.
But
Did you, man, I don't know. Did you have like the bald head and everything?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
But we shaved it before it started coming out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had the bald head and was hairless mole rat.
Do you miss having the bald head? Are you going to go back to that anytime soon?
I will never.
Really?
Nope, I will never. I will, if I start losing my hair, I'm going to stretch it out like you, K.C. I'm just going to have it as long as I can. And so when I had a bald head, that was the absolute hottest that my head has ever been in the sun.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is so hot.
Yeah.
Your hair, it allows your sweat to evaporate.
Dude, I've
and
thought
cool
about that
your
before.
Head so much.
Dude, you see those people who have bald heads and they always have a rag wiping their head and stuff because it's just like cooking it. Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, what
that was a nasty
that?
roadkill.
Was
that
it?
You smoked. Yeah.
Dadgummit,
Do you feel
smoked.
like that you? This is. Your name's just funny to make plays on, so we'll just assume we were going to stop doing that for a little while because it gets confusing. Hunter the Hunter, but like. I can imagine that having an experience like that as a young man really grows you up a lot, and you think about much more serious stuff than what an average 16, 17, 18-year-old's thinking about. Because you do, I'm sure you kind of thought about your mortality quite a bit, So do you feel like after that, like your take as an outdoorsman and like what you wanted to accomplish, things you wanted to go do, did that change much, or have you always kind of had the same passions for getting out in the outdoors?
I have always had the biggest desires and passions to get out in the outdoors every day.
Yeah.
Which is why I do what I do for a living. It's actually the only, job that I could actually have, I think, and be happy with it. Mm-hmm. But after that, I realized I was like, man, it could have ended. Like this could have been very short. And before that, I was very worried, what am I going to do what college do I want to go to? Do I want to go to college? What do I want to do for a job? And after that, I was like, that'll all work itself out. I'm just going to enjoy life as much as possible. Mm. So
you tried not to do that today, though, right?
Yeah. Hunt as much as I can. Fish as much as I can, travel, see the United States, Canada, whatever I want to go do. I want to go do that as much as I can. And believe it or not, so, I went to college and I actually dropped out a year shy of my degree. So that cancer got me through a lot of college. That got me through all of my English classes. For anything I had to write, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
I to a point, I earned that card, so I used that card.
I don't blame you.
There you go.
Yeah, I would definitely, especially it's something that actually impacted your life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My mom made me sign a hat for you one time when you were going through all that. You might not ever got that hat. I can't remember it. I was at college, I think, and. She was like, you need to sign this SMU hat for Hunter Dickens. And I was like, okay. And, of course, just being at college, being so busy, I don't know if I got it in a timely manner to her. So, but I know you've always looked up to me.
Still does,
yeah, every time I stand next to you, I look up to you.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how we all are intertwined with just how we know each other and stuff. It's just that small town know people kind of deal, and you end up a lot of times because you're raised so similarly in a small town, you get along really well, and then we all three just really care about doing the same stuff. And I'm pretty excited, just like
it's really weird. Like, I've been thinking about this too. Like, Hunter's like dialect is just an Emory dialect. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird, but like, just it's even hyper regional, and I just haven't ever picked up on that. I thought, well, it's East Texas, and there's an East Texas thing, but like there's also like a difference in Emory and North Hopkins and Sulphur Springs and all that.
Because like if y'all are listening, you don't know this. I clean up my accent some whenever I'm on the podcast. You might not think that, but it's true. Just because sometimes if I'm talking to like Brendan or somebody, you can't understand what we're saying.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
It's like a form of Spanish.
Yeah, but we definitely have more of a slur or something to the way we say stuff. Whereas like Hunter talks kind of proper, but with a thick accent at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very, very unique.
Upper class.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
it's an upper class redneck.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Yeah.
Fully mature.
Fully mature. 2.5 years old.
2.5 year old. But yeah, so Hunter's gonna hunt with us a good bit this year, thinking
he's been filming his hunts actually.
Yeah, the day that this probably comes out, Hunter the Hunter is going to be on our hunting YouTube channel.
That's right.
And it's pretty exciting.
It is cool. We had to break him in on YouTube. We couldn't let him show us up.
Yeah.
We had to make sure.
That's right.
I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but you'll figure it out if you go watch the video.
Yeah.
But Hunter had a really cool encounter. You had a couple of cactus bucks you were chasing this year, right? There's two of them, right?
I did, yes.
Which is weird. And explain what a cactus buck is.
So, now, I'm not going to say it's a cactus buck because I have not seen the underside.
You got to examine it to be sure.
I don't have one on the ground, so it could be an antlered doe.
Yeah.
That just doesn't have enough testosterone to essentially cause the velvet to come off. But I do have what I believe a cactus buck, a deer that will continue to grow its antlers. Once it gets its first set, it does not lose those. It will continue to grow them for the rest of its life. It doesn't shed the velvet. And so basically you'll end up with a deer that's got a ton of mass, I've even seen some up to 7-inch bases. So whatever their first year is, if he's a forky, or in this instance, one that I was after 6, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Sometimes the tines, they will grow taller, but not significantly. Not as much as you'll pick up in base.
Those bases end up just getting like big kind of knotty kind of things on. They don't just swell, right? They just kind of
they'll get
like scarring almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because is this different? So is there a difference in a cactus buck that was born with like no testicles and a cactus buck that hit a barbed wire fence in the wrong spot? Like, is there a difference in the way they grow their horns and stuff?
Hunter, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but a cactus buck it's an issue with that buck physically, right? It's not something they're eating or anything like that. Like, it's something to do with their testicles.
Yes.
Right?
Something is physically wrong with them and their reproductive system. Yeah.
There's other types where it's like they have too much potassium in their diet or something like that. And that causes the same problem, but it's a nutrition type thing.
Is this buck going to be about like a steer? Be like super tasty for a buck?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I really hope so too. I can't wait to taste some of them.
Yeah. Well, we just got to watch the video and see if you got to.
I know it.
Yeah,
I know
it.
But you had a pretty good hunting season, dude.
I did. I
did. So I'm confused. I feel like you shot 2 bucks in like a week or something like that.
I did, and then it just it shut down for a while. It got rough. It was a struggle fest.
Yeah, you killed which one did you kill first?
The whitetail.
They're both whitetails.
Okay. Yes, that is correct. You got me. The Texas whitetail.
So you killed a public land buck this year.
I did kill a public land buck.
Technically
right?
2, yeah.
2.
Yeah.
2 whitetail public land.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. So, of course, we never want to give away a spot, right? That is not what we do on here.
Yeah.
So, Hunter.
Well, kind of.
Being vague.
Not unless it's a mass kill challenge.
Being vague, unless you just want to tell people how far south in Texas it was. It's pretty far south. Where did you well, I don't want to say, what am I trying to say? Tell us about that deer, Hunter. You got a tactic.
There's a moon tactic, isn't there?
Yeah, dude, that's what I want to talk about.
Holy, you need to sell a moon guide.
Everybody else does.
Hunter's moon guide. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. The Hunter's moon guide.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Look for it on the app, or on not the app. We need an app.
TheElementWild.com.
There you go.
Look for it on the website.
Yeah.
So I had gotten the opportunity to hunt some public land opening day, and I drove around, rode around, walked around, however you traverse the country. I did a various of the 3. I had some previous knowledge of this public land. I mean, I've laid hands on it a couple times and knew where a couple trees were, but other than that, man, I just went in blind. I was more excited for the opportunity to just go sit in the woods on opening day with a bow in my hand. I was pumped for that. Basically, it was October 3rd. Rut's not kicking in, although there was a cool spell, and this buck was running with 5 does. and he was pushing one of them pretty hard. The weather was really cool for October 3rd. Normally, I don't even hunt. This may be bad to say, but I don't normally ever hunt opening day of bow season.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hot.
So
Terrible.
Like if I go out there, it's going to be in shorts and a t-shirt, but the mosquitoes, I will lose half my weight in blood.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do that. I can't bring myself to do it. It's not enjoyable at that point. I want to go out. I'm not so much out there for the kill. I want to go out there and enjoy it. I want to sit there in the peace and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will wait until it's cool weather. Last year, I did not bow hunt. Last year was super hot, and I did not bow hunt until probably mid-November, a couple weeks into rifle season. But back to this buck, it was cool weather, so I was very excited about that. The moon was out, and so I figured these deer would be moving late. I found a relatively good...
So, hold on.
Go ahead.
Tell us a little bit more on that figure there. The moon is out.
This is something moon guys like to do. They like to confuse you.
That's right.
They'll say red moon. You don't know if it's actually was the moon red. It was like a harvest moon or what.
If the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it?
They'll say there's the moon overhead, but they don't. Sometimes you're like, well, is it directly overhead or what? You know,
Hunter, what does that mean? The moon is out, and you figured. Tell me what that means.
Everybody's got different data that they look at.
Sure.
Some say it's stamped in concrete.
I'm interested in yours.
Mine,
Yeah.
I believe.
Ditch tiger.
And I'm not trying to down anything on this. I believe from the data that I have seen, deer move 5 times a day.
Yeah.
And if you've got, the way I look at it, if I've got more than like a 30% moon, I'm going to be betting on deer moving 3 times at night, twice a day. And if the moon is below that, I'm going to be betting on deer moving 3 times a day and
Twice at night.
Twice at night. So this moon.
So in other words, you're saying a bright moon, like
Yes.
over a 30% moon, is going to have them out at night more than in the day.
Yes.
And vice versa.
Yes.
Do you look at cloud cover and stuff when you're figuring in on that too?
I do. I'll look and see if it's just one night, no, I'm not going to bother with it. But if we've got a week of overcast, I'm going to be betting those deer are going to change a little bit, and I'm going to see more daylight activity, whether that be like right at dusk, and then right at dawn. And I'm not talking about like the first few minutes of shooting light. I'm talking about like when you can barely see.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm looking for deer. And hoping that they stay out just long enough to make shooting light.
Mm-hmm.
But this deer, the moon was out and bright that night. So I'm betting on them deer moving twice a day. A little bit in the morning, possibly, but more so midday and late evening. So I packed my snack bag, which is always crucial, and got plenty of water and Powerade, keep me fueled. And
what color?
Purple.
There you go.
Always purple.
Mm-hmm.
The big ones. So I sat there right at light. I had a decent pinch point, and I had some producing oaks. About
What variety is that? Producing oak? I never heard that.
several
Purple oak.
several oaks dropping acorns in a relatively straight line.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had some overcups and some white oaks, and I was very excited about that, to find them dropping. And I went and set up probably 50 yards from a water source that I was using as a pinch point.
Did you scout your way in and find those oaks, or did you know they were there and then went and set up on them?
I knew they were there.
Gotcha.
I knew they were there. I did not know if anything was hitting them.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I had no clue. No cameras, no preseason scouting, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
I just went in with my climber and a little saw and trimmed one limb as I went up.
There you go.
Ooh.
But that's a legal thing to do, right?
Yes, it is on that.
Yeah.
So I went in, saw one deer right at shooting light, as I was sitting there enjoying my morning. A little 8-point.
I thought you went in but you went in early.
I went in
but
early.
you're expecting a later move.
Yes.
Okay.
And if it hadn't have been opening morning, if I'd already had some time in the stand, some days, and some sits logged, then I would have went in later.
Yeah.
I would have went in at 10. But opening morning, I was excited. I'm going to go sit all day.
Mm-hmm.
Got in, sat, and I believe I had that deer right at light, so 7-something, real early, 7 o'clock. And then I had a couple does come by, probably 10:30-ish, which I know is a lot longer than most people sit in the stand, but if you can hang in there, hang in there.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then I had that buck working some does in. I watched him out from about 80 yards. And when I saw him, I was like, man, that's definitely a shooter. He's mature deer. He's by far no Boone and Crockett, but I was very pleased with him and watched him come in, work those does. He was pushing a yearling doe, and I looked at her hawk. She wasn't quite in, but she was getting close. A little early rut activity, and he worked her off into some real thick stuff for probably 10 minutes while these other ones fed around at 40 yards from me, and watched her. She came back out, started heading my direction, so I get up, get ready, get the bow, try to calm myself for the most part, because I was already fired up from the first time seeing them, and they went out of sight at about 50 yards. So of course I'm, nervous as all get out and excited, just got my blood pumping. And so she comes in at probably 20 yards, and he's following right behind her, and she's about to walk right in front of me, gonna be perfect. Well, she gets right in front of me, and he starts to follow, just on a string. I know that term gets used a lot, but this was ideal. I feel the wind hit the back of my neck, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just hold off for just a second. Just please, just 5 seconds. Well, that doe caught it, and she busted. Mm-hmm. She hopped about 10 yards and went to looking. And luckily, it was pre-rut. This deer was already getting swole up. He was more worried about the doe. Ran right to her. Didn't want her getting away. And when he did, I was able to lock the pin on him and get the job done.
How far?
It was 28 yards.
It's a pretty good poke.
Yep.
I believe 28 yards.
Yeah. Smoked him?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It was a quarter and shot away.
It's a good
coming
shot.
in on his right side. Mm-hmm. And so I went in I went in between the last rib and the second to last rib. Went in and then came out just on the back side of the away shoulder, on his left shoulder. So double lunged and some arteries.
There you go.
Dang, dude. That's
That'll
good.
do it.
And he went probably, I don't know, 50, 60 yards.
Yeah.
That's nice.
You Euro that deer? What are you doing with him?
I did. I Euroed him.
Yeah. Yep. It's a good
So
buck, dude.
You and we're gonna have Hunter on a lot more, I'm sure, in the future. But we wanted to kind of introduce you guys. We've been wanting to do this for a while, but Hunter lives a pretty good way out from us.
We were going to do it
now, so.
here a while back. We went and hunted with Hunter the Hunter a little bit, just hanging out, and then we just got to talking and didn't put the headphones on, so we didn't get to do it.
And we'll do plenty more of these, but let's hit the highlights of the other public land whitetail you killed a little bit, because I know there's some people that are interested in this, and you just kind of informed us that the rut might be happening in this stuff, right?
I believe I would love to go up there and see it, but I have not gotten to draw
talked us out of it, dude.
Have not gotten to draw that tag yet. I'm waiting for that tag. Yes, public land, Arizona, coos or cows, however you want to pronounce it. Whoever you're talking to, more than likely pronounces it the other way. I have found that out.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. So doesn't matter who I talk to around here. I can say coos, cows, and most people just know them as coos. You get up there, and so I got up to Arizona. Not my first time being up there or talking to people about coos deer. I'll be simple and call it coos. Got up there and talking to one of the game wardens, and he's like, man, I called it cows, trying to be proper, and he's like, man, just everybody calls them coos, and everybody out of state wants us to call them cows because that's, proper. And he's like, well, they're here, we're here. We call them coos. Call them coos.
I'm just going to call them whitetail if I go there.
Whitetail. Yeah, just miniature whitetail.
That's it.
The Shetlands of whitetails.
That's it.
And ended up drawing that tag in July, I believe, and started preparing. And I did not do enough calisthenics. So...
But you
rough country.
Yes.
You hauled a deer out whole on your back, I think, didn't you?
I attempted to make the entire trip out whole.
Yeah.
So I don't know how in depth y'all want to get on this particular story. I'm not going to go into details on the spot. We changed spots a couple times. Ended up finding some deep draws and ravines that some trails went around. And basically, the deer were being pressured into some deep crevasses.
So coulees, kind of. But
I like crevasse, actually.
Crevice. So my crevice is not feeling good right now. But
let's not do that.
It's a drop tag, but you're still dealing with pressure?
Yes. Yes. So there is a lot of course, only 10% of their tags go to out of state.
It's like the New Mexico deal. Same deal where, like, you're like, oh, awesome, I drew this tag, and you show up, and then there's people sighting in their bows in the parking lot. They're locals, right? That
yes,
kind of deal.
Yes. Except it was rifles, so they were sighting in their rifles in the campground. You got to do what you got to do, I guess. I actually had a mishap when we got up there. The first spot we get to, we set up camp. I'm laying in bed. We got a couple of days to scout before season opens, and I'm sitting there, like always, racking my brain on what did I forget, because I never make an entire trip where I remember to bring everything that I need. And I am laying there in my bed. My dad and my sister went with me. We're set up in our wall tent, and I'm laying there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot to bring bullets.
Oh no.
The only thing else I could have forgot, I guess worse, would be my gun. I completely forgot. I did not bring any bullets. So I sighted in my gun, checked it actually right at my parents' house right before we left, and used up the 3 or 4 that were in the gun, and I had another box set aside, and somehow it did not get put in the truck. And so luckily my dad was shooting the same caliber, and I did a quick sight-in job with 2 bullets, got it zeroed, and went about our ways.
Y'all reloaders?
No.
You just using box ammo?
It's a good thing, man. KC and I shoot the same arrow.
Yeah.
And,
different broadheads, but it's not... or different size broadheads at least.
Yeah.
And it makes things nice. We can just swap back and forth a whole lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you forgot your bullets.
I
did.
did.
You got to shoot your dad's.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully.
And,
because I was Googling, and I had actually, where the spot I had service, and I was trying to see how quick I could get some bullets shipped out there. This was back when you could buy bullets, and we were back in nowhere, and the closest town was miles
away.
It was over an hour drive, and the town there did not have. You were not eligible for next day delivery. It was going to be like 5 days until I could get my bullets.
Golly.
So it was going to be a while, and so
some of that Arizona stuff is remote. We went there in 2015, I think, And like the first gas station we pulled up to in Arizona, there's like a van full of people, and they had more gas cans than I think you could fit on a van, and they were filling them all up. And it's like, hey, these people come to town to get gas for the next month.
Dude, it was kind of weird.
Yeah,
what they were doing.
Stuff's remote,
but so you and your dad were both hunting. Y'all both drew.
We both drew.
Yeah,
and then my sister had a bear tag.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
How many tags that field?
One.
Just your buck.
Just my buck. We were very, very close to filling a bear tag.
Really?
It just did not happen.
I mean, we draw that, or was that OTC?
That was OTC.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's very, very reasonably priced.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
was there a lot of bears, or just happened to have a chance at one?
No, every time we've been up there, I've seen bears. So, I mean, the odds are there. They're good. They're decent odds.
So, tell us a little bit about hunting Arizona and like maybe just some considerations if you're going to go do that Coos thing or anything out there.
As far as preparations,
or just like the kind of country that you're going to find a lot of, or
so it's not the desert. It's not Phoenix.
Yeah.
Arizona has a lot of rugged terrain, the gnarliest and nastiest stuff, but that's why they have so many world records as well. But you got to get in there to go get them.
There's some steep country where we went, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
take water.
Yes.
Dry.
We I don't remember how many gallons we went through, but I think we ended up taking we took 40 gallons in with us. And when we went last year, that wasn't enough. We had to come back in to 2-hour drive to come back in to.
Wow. Did y'all do
go
showers?
Get water. Yes, but not out of our drinking water. So that wasn't like we didn't count that into our 40 gallons. That was strictly drinking water.
Wow.
Whew.
It's
3
a lot.
of y'all, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, and of course, all your food, whatever you want to take, you have to take it with you. You better be prepared for an apocalypse, basically, and be able to carry most of it on your back because there's not a lot of truck hunting.
Yeah.
You do see a lot of road hunters, but we were in some backcountry.
So
But y'all
were,
got to. Sorry.
Yeah. So y'all were y'all had all the supplies of the truck that you needed, and then you just spike out for a few days or whatever. And
we did, but actually. So we started out doing that and then moved our original camp probably an hour and a half away to some other country and set up there. And then within I believe the next day I was watching deer. So I spent 2 days glassing at the first spot we went to, and man, I saw minimal deer. There was a ton of sign, but they had just moved out. Arizona went through a terrible drought this year, so water was a huge factor. But thankfully, they've got a lot of water systems up there.
Oh, like drinkers and stuff.
They do have a lot of drinkers, weeps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helps, especially in years like this.
Is that the way to hunt those whitetail out there, is to glass and move in on them and shoot them, or can you reasonably go out there and like find some trees and hang a tree stand and traditional whitetail hunt?
You could do that, and I really want to try that with my bow.
Nobody talks about it doing it.
No, it's overlooked. I think it's overlooked, and I almost feel bad talking about it on here because I honestly, man, I hold that close. But there's so many trees out there, they're not going to find those trees.
Yeah.
But yes, I really want to try.
Are they patternable, or is that just like I'm just going to sit here for 5 days straight, and then they're going to one of those days they're going to come by?
The ones that I found in the trees, which is just in the trees, they were patternable.
It's good.
We did,
because your boy ain't going to sit out there for 5 days straight all day.
Definitely ain't gonna be here 10:30.
He's gone. He's out of here.
So
I'm ready for lunch.
You went out there in October and did this?
Yes,
but it was cold. It wasn't like hot weather or whatever. But you say the rut is like January when people are really talking about going out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Is October the best time to go out there? Why is there is that a big season, or is there a gap in there? Like what's the deal with that?
Our season was a week long, and I believe they have 4 seasons that are each a week long.
So there's an October, November, December, and January?
I can't remember the dates exactly, but it's something similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were, and there's one season in there that you can draw where you can draw, your tag is for mule deer or coos deer.
Yeah.
And that tag right there is golden because I saw some mule deer that I would love to shoot.
What's a big mule deer?
200 plus.
To you, or just in you talking about to the general public? Like, do you have a smaller number than 200 that's a big mule deer to you?
I mean, man, most of my mule deer experience is in Arizona and in some gnarly units, some big producing units. So I mean, it's not the kaibab, but I look at those deer and 200's big, but it's not going to take that for me to pull the trigger on my first one. Mm-hmm. So I chased them last year with a bow and was really.
Wait, you mule deer hunted with a bow last year?
Yes.
Where at?
Arizona.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know about that. In 2019?
Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hunter the hunter is a hunter.
Dude, for real.
So when you go up there in August and get your over-the-counter archery tag, you can use it for mule deer or coos. So I'm thinking I might try this year going up there and sitting in some trees.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But
can you kill mule deer out of a tree? Are they patternable like that?
I don't know. I do not have that much experience.
really, if you wanted to make the most out of your tag, you actually go up there in January and try it. And then you can go back that fall, right? And then that thing with Arizona?
Yes. Okay. If I understand this correct, but I could be. Your over-the-counter archery tag.
We don't give legal advice on this show, just so you know. But we just talk about how we think things are.
in 2019, when I was really focused in on the archery and its regulations, the way I understood it was that you could go back. So they have 2 seasons. One is really early, the August and September, and then they have one in January. Mm-hmm. So you can buy one in January and then hunt that following October. But if you hunt October, you have to buy another one for January.
Yeah. And you get a fishing license or something like that, right, Tyler? Isn't that why we went to Arizona? Because you already had a license?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I really wanted to do my hunter safeties course out there or whatever.
Get the extra point.
But
get that point.
I just probably will
How many
never
points
do
do you
that.
have for elk in Arizona? Hunter?
4?
Yeah.
So 26 more until I get lucky.
Perfect, dude.
I got about 16 more until I get lucky.
26 more until I get a chance.
I feel like you like to bow hunt, but you don't mind picking up a rifle at all. Is that kind of how you?
Yeah,
how you feel about stuff?
I don't put my nose down at it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I lay my nose down on it when I'm shooting it, but
yeah, I got
there
you.
you go.
I don't hang my head down at anybody who picks up a gun, especially on an opportunity like that. I put in those tags knowing that they were rifle, and knowing that the challenge that they held, and that I could not have been any more excited had I shot that with a bow.
Oh yeah.
No,
It's challenging enough just because of the terrain and the type of critter. Right?
Yes, and in my first year, I had never seen this spot before, so this was totally fresh, virgin ground to me. Have never spent any time in this area.
And you said you and your dad were shooting 22s, right?
Yeah, 22 mags.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, that gives you a little more distance. Mm-hmm. That really helps zip it out there.
That good old
It's a short mag, isn't it? WSM, right?
Yeah, 22 WSSM. So, how far was your shot?
My shot was, I didn't range it, but it's somewhere between 150 and 200.
Got you.
So relatively close. It was for, most what people shoot. Let me start over on that. For what most people shoot on coos deer, you see a lot of people doing a lot of long range shooting with them, and I I'm not the person who is comfortable shooting at an animal 600 yards away.
Yeah.
So when I went out there, I knew that about 300 was probably going to be my max.
What caliber are you shooting?
That I was shooting my wife's gun. It's a 6.5 Creedmoor.
That gets a lot of flack.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it does. Seems to work pretty good on coos deer.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
It did exceptional.
That's good.
So
What'd you do with that?
They're kind of like a rage, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everybody likes to rage on them
Throw an axe
or
at
love
'em.
them so
Yeah.
much. Like it's love and hate only.
Yeah, deer blow up when you hit them with it.
Do they?
Yeah.
With a rage?
I don't know.
Okay.
Are you gonna shoulder mount that deer? What are you doing?
So, no, because I messed that up coming
Oh,
down.
you
I messed
missed the
that.
cape up?
No, when snow was coming in, and I was not dealing with it at the time. I'd already come down a mountain with a deer on my back, not in a pack, with a deer on my back, and I was exhausted. I was exhausted, and by the time I'd reached the bottom where I met my dad, he had come across the canyon and was meeting me, and I said, let's just find the quickest way to get him down, and we cut the head off. But what I think I'm going to do is, have you seen the mounts where they take an old pack, like an old canvas pack with a wood frame, roll up the hide just like you had caped him out, and then put the head in there? I think that's what I'm going to go on.
That's
that.
cool.
And I wish I had kept more of the cape, because it is a gorgeous cape, and he had almost like some pine ball markings on his chest and up his neck. It was beautiful.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in myself that I did not take the time to cape that out. But
yeah, but man, how do you put a coos deer on the wall in front of a bunch of whitetail and make it look not like the tiniest thing ever?
There's something kind of like retro about a coos deer. I feel like it's kind of like a throwback type deal or something.
Yeah.
And it almost is like a situation where it's like, man, would it be cool to do the old shoulder mount where it's kind of in front of the shoulder, just a neck or whatever, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of a weird thought, but
just straight on with the ears perked up.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Because I feel like that's how you see them. If you were to go like an old cafe out there, that's how you'd see one mounted,
I like the pack deal. That's a good idea, because then you don't have to compare it to all the whitetails on your wall that are monsters.
You could put it on that tiny Badlands pack that you carry around, and then it would like all make it all work out.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
It's twice the size of that pack.
Did you officially score that deer?
no,
What do you know? What like boon is on a coos deer?
100 inches.
100 inches.
Is boon.
100.
Jay Scott kills way bigger coos deer than that.
They kill some toe days.
I would be killing those on East Texas.
Don't cite me
land.
on that, but I'm fairly certain it's 100 inches to get into the book.
I believe it.
To get into the book.
What's Pope? Like 85 or something?
I don't know.
80.
I've got a shed off of one in there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of that thing. That's a pretty cool thing to me. Found that in the trees. That's like probably a 60-inch deer or something like that.
I have no
That's
clue.
hard to say. It's
I haven't spent much time measuring 60-inch
It's a 4-point
deer.
side,
Yeah. It is. It's a good shed.
I would have smoked that thing.
Dude.
I tell you, dude.
We saw a
Anytime that
pretty good coos in there,
what's
too.
weird is like anytime I go to a new state outside of like things that are really traditionally trophy states, I'm like my barrier to shooting is so low. I'm like, give me something to shoot. You know what I mean? That's how South Dakota was. I would definitely be that way in Arizona after coos deer at least. Elk could be a different story.
Right.
But I just like to go out and hunt stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like part of that is having some success. And if you set yourself up to try to shoot a giant animal, you're also setting yourself up for not a lot of success sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's you also set yourself up to be hunting in December when it's freezing cold. So, but
out there, December, January is not too bad, huh? It's kind of mild.
I don't know. I had never been.
Subtropical.
I'm hoping to draw that tag, but I think it's pretty snow covered. I think it's going to be pretty cold with lots of snow in that particular
area. Would they move
area.
down once the snow comes in?
No, because these are already pretty low pretty low compared to a lot of Arizona altitude. I mean, there's higher spots. I don't know. Yeah. The deer we found were pretty low.
Yeah.
And there are deer all the way up, basically, into some of the highest stuff up there. So when I got in there, I've got a limited amount of time. I want to be able to look at stuff, and so the lower you go, the less trees you got. So that's basically.
Well, you did the archer mule deer thing, and I'm assuming you still kind of would like to shoot a mule deer. You shot a coos deer. Would you rather go back and try to do that trip even better, or would you rather try something new?
I would.
You got something else on your list?
I've always got a list, but at the same time, I want to go back and see if I could do it again, because that by far is I'm going to put that up there as the toughest hunt I've ever done, and
besides today.
Besides today, yeah. So that was. I mean, I prepared myself mentally. I knew what was coming because I did it last year with a bow, and I was very thankful to draw that rifle tag because I'm like, okay, I have a chance. A slim one, but I have a chance. I have a better chance than I do with a bow in my hand. There is no way I could have killed that deer with a bow in the particular conditions that I was in.
Yeah.
So
that's scary.
In its specific location, there's without a couple of days planning and moving in super slow and spike camping within a mile of him, which when I say a mile, like a mile's not very far out there in that open stuff. And so you'd have had to camp close just so you'd have enough daylight to try and get to him in the particular stuff he was in. The terrain was just straight up and down, and it took forever to get to him.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't glass this deer up. This was, I believe, like our fourth day of the hunt, fourth day of season being open. And I had been glassing this canyon and looking at it, and there was some real steep cuts in it. And I thought, man, on one side, on the north-facing slope, by the way, if you don't know where to look for coos deer, look on the north-facing slope. And keep your eyes on it. And I had been watching it, and there was a cut in there. And I said, man, I'd like to go.
Like a little secondary drainage type thing? Is that what you're saying when you say cut?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in there. And it's probably, it's 200 yards wide, and really deep. And I thought, man, I want to go look at that this evening. Right, get in there, get out, so that I know I can make a plan for tomorrow, whether I want to go into some trees, move, further to a different area and go hunt some trees or something. I can get in the truck and go drive around while Dad and my sister go chase bears somewhere. Anyway, so I left my pack, spot and scope, walking sticks, everything. Basically, I've got on my binocular harness. And something really cool about it is in the back of it, it's got a little zipper and unfolds a mesh bladder bag holder. And so I threw my water in it and my gun, and that was it. And I went up.
No snacks?
No snacks.
Oh.
It was late in the evening, and I had to do it quick. It was just a quick and dirty. Go up there and take a peek. And I got up there, and I started low in this drainage where I could see a little bit, and I looked up into it, and I saw some mule deer does feeding. And I decided that I needed to get up. I didn't want to be below because they were already facing downhill and feeding down into it. And there was just a little shelf there with some grass that they were on. So I worked my way up probably 200 feet in elevation, which was, this is a steep slope, and got up there about eye level with them, decided I need to be higher. And so I got up higher, went up another 100 feet, and I had some bighorn, like probably 100 yards from me. Back
That's
up in,
cool.
it was gorgeous. And
I didn't know this was on my radar, but it is.
It's cool.
And I was totally content sitting there watching that the rest of the evening. I've got these mule deer does feeding down below me, And I look across the drainage. There's some brush and some trees and stuff. And out pops some whitetail. And there was 4 in the group. The one that I shot was actually the first one I saw. The other 4, I couldn't tell you what they were, how big they were, because the one that I saw, I knew was, without a doubt, a trophy to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's it. Threw my gun up, and I turned my scope up a little bit, checked the tail, make sure there was no black on it at all. 100% whitetail, put it on the shoulder and squeezed, and he went down, did a couple flips, and I got
broke off his right side.
Got my radio because me and Dad were using radios because he was hunting a few miles away.
Isn't Arizona one of the few places that you can actually use electronic devices to communicate the location of game?
Yes.
Oh,
That's what I thought.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And so,
Sounds like a place I want to go.
Yeah, dude.
I radioed Dad and I said, hey, did you hear that shot? He's like, yeah. I was like, man, it was pretty close.
Hunter likes to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that was me. I've got one down over here. I was like, I'm going to work my way to him, and it's going to take me a little bit. And he's like, okay. So I get into this drainage, start working my way through it, and it turns into a sheep path of 1 foot in front of the other and straight up, just straight down 100 foot. And I'm holding on to roots and trees as I go across. And I work my way 200 yards through that and get over there to him, and I go to radio Dad, and I'm like, hey, I found him. I set up my phone on a rock, take a couple quick selfies with him, which y'all have seen on Instagram. My hair's going wild. And that is my favorite picture of that deer because that shows, like, my exhaustion.
Yeah, that's cool.
That shows, like, to the point that I will look at that forever and go, remember what I had to go through to get to him.
That's cool, man.
And so then I'm thinking, I don't have a knife. I've got this little Leatherman that I carry in my pocket all the time,
Which is sharp.
It's super
sharp.
That is scary sharp.
It's sharp, but
Achilles tendon cutting sharp.
That's all I had with me, and it's got like a 2-inch blade. Not even 2 inch, because 1 inch is serrated. So I've got a 1 inch blade, and I'm trying to radio Dad, tell him where I'm at. My radio dies, and he is one that kind of jumps to conclusions. So when my radio died, he probably thought I fell off the mountain.
Well,
and there's no cell phone service, so I
you
can't
weren't
call
far
him.
from it.
No, I was not far from it. So I field dressed this deer, and I'm thinking, man, I've got to get back because a snowstorm is rolling in that night. Like at dark, snowstorm is hitting hard, and so I basically just throw this deer on my back, and I just get over to the drainage, and I'm like, man, I can't do this with him on my shoulders because I don't have enough balance. So I drop him down on the ground, and I'm holding him by his antler, and he is basically at this point dangling on the downhill side of me. And I've got him down there so that if anything happens, I can just let go. And he is like, I'm not dragging him. His ribs are rubbing up against rocks because he's hanging. And I'm putting 1 foot in front of the other. My toes are just, if I could grow hooves and be a sheep right then, I would. Because I'm trying to glue myself to this rock.
Couldn't shove a greased tent stake up the booty hole, or could you?
No. And at that point, I thought, man, it would be cool over there if somebody across the canyon was taking a picture. But also they'd be like, wow, look at that idiot. Like,
if you were on YouTube, you'd have some safety police getting after you too.
You need a safety harness on.
Yeah. I needed some rappel gear.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm holding on with him in my left hand. Got my gun slung across my body, and I've got tree roots and rocks in my right hand that I'm holding on as I get over around this stuff. Very, very possible the most sketchy thing that I've done hunting, safety-wise. So I get him across.
Except for shooting that pig today with Tyler out there.
Yeah. That. And I get through the drainage, thankfully. And so he's too heavy. I mean, I know they don't weigh a lot, but field dress, this guy probably weighed somewhere between 70 and 80 pounds, which is a lot of dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that in a pack or with a pack. You know, you can not comfortably, but I've known guys who have a 70-pound pack. They may not go far and fast, but
We went
I went
7
8
miles slow.
Real slow.
you can do it.
Tore my MCL.
But this is dead weight. You try and carry I don't know, pick up an 80-pound child, tell them to be limp. Don't actually put them on your shoulder limp, but
Make sure you know the child.
yeah.
Also, don't hang them off the cliff
Don't hang
for practice.
So what I ended up, once I got to the other side, I took my Leatherman because there's no way I could get down in time. I mean, I've got 30 minutes before it's pitch black dark, and I cut the back half of them off. I cut the hams off or the rump off, and I cut the tenderloins out, put them in my pockets because that's all I got. And the back straps, the back straps were still on the back, so that went with me, and I hung the hams up in a tree, and I headed down the mountain at a quickest pace as I could because I did not have a flashlight.
Oh.
And nobody knew where I was at.
Oh, dude.
I
You
didn't-
want to talk about...
I
You
had
braver
nothing.
than me, man.
I didn't
I'd
have
be
a
freaking
flashlight.
out.
I had 2 bullets left to signal where I was at. If it came down to it. And Dad just knew a general area of about a mile and a half, square, 1.5 square miles of kind of the area I was at. And that was it. And so...
Here, Dad, I'm in this 800 acres right here.
Yeah.
Dude, one time, so before the days of Onyx, I would go hunting with Pop. And we went squirrel hunting one time as a little kid. We didn't see any squirrels. But we got lost down the dike bottoms. And
This
Pop-
is an area, guys,
Yeah.
if you don't know where Dyke is.
Yeah. Dike. It's weird how you say it. It's that East Texas dike. It's
Yeah.
like it almost has 2 syllables. But anyways, we got lost down the bottoms down there. And Pop went to shooting the shotgun to signal where we were because we were lost. And finally we walked out of there and figured out where we were going or whatever. We were on a buddy's place. And this guy was a little bit dim-witted, I think. And he was like, I just thought y'all were shooting lots of squirrels. And it's like, well, we shot 9 times in sequence. So,
Yeah.
I don't
Equally
know.
spaced.
Yeah, equally spaced.
I was just making sure people knew Dyke Bottoms was a area, not something
not
different.
something to search on the internet.
No,
Right? Yeah.
definitely
Yeah,
not.
definitely not that. But that's a cool story, dude. That sounds like an adventure hunt, and I'm all about those, man. It sounds like a lot of fun. What?
Yeah.
The next day was the best because
Oh, really?
it dumped like 5 inches, 6 inches of snow, and my dad and my sister went out bear hunting to get on some hot tracks, and I got to sit in the tent, keep the fire going, sit there, and just
Drink coffee.
drink coffee. Dude, I stayed. I had a pair of flannel pants and just a Columbia shirt like I'm wearing now, and I did not change. And I wore house shoes in the tent, and I sat there the entire day just soaking it in.
That reminds me of Illinois, dude. I stayed up till like 1 a.m. after I shot that buck. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
that's
eating
cool.
chips and stuff, man.
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
That's fun, dude. So, what trip are you going on with us this year?
Man, I don't know. A lot.
All of them.
So, I mean, a lot. I don't know
All right.
which single one you want me to talk about.
See,
but
I thought
I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
like that
because I
answer.
thought after today he would be like, not very many.
I mean,
Yeah.
you don't see stuff, so
He's
yeah.
like, I'm gonna have to pick one.
Yeah. Which, if you thought about one that we've talked about doing, which one would you be excited about going and doing?
I mean, I get excited for any kind of hunting. I mean, you saw my excitement today when we got to shoot that squirrel.
Oh yeah,
I'm a
Hunter
huge.
went
I love
full on squirrel dog.
I love squirrel hunting. Small
Me too.
game. I get excited for any kind of hunting. I will go. So saying what am I most excited for? Man, I love chasing whitetail, but I get excited about anything. You
Yeah.
say, hey man, let's go, squirrel hunting. Let's go quail hunting. Let's go pheasant hunting. I'm in. Let's go snipe hunting.
We're going snipe hunting. Real
Yes, we
snipes.
are.
On the scale of 1 to 10, where does 8 miles of pig walking hunting land on the excitement?
Okay, now
excitement
that
scale?
is an exception. That is an exception. Today, chasing pigs for the first time,
Yep.
I felt pretty down because I was like, man, I hope that this is not what it's all about. I'm just kidding, guys. No.
If you're listening to this and you're going on the pig hunt, expect that to happen. And if it gets better than that, it'll be a surprise.
That's right.
I have not ever put this much work into pig hunting in my life.
What's funny, dude, is that's how it goes. It's like
But it
if
was
you're
fun.
a private land pig hunter, you
Can't appreciate
you
it.
think that they're just these things out in the pastures and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a public land pig hunter, it's like you should see the sores I got to get this 12-pound pig.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's two different worlds, man.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't know.
I think-
Probably
Go ahead.
on that scale, pig hunting in today's fashion or style we did and effort and work, that was probably my number started out a lot higher this morning when we started. Yeah.
What's a 10? Does that mean you shot a big deer? Is that a 10? I don't really know.
No, 10 is like a dream hunt.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
like
Yeah.
10 is just getting to go on a dream hunt.
Where does 8 miles for squirrels fit into this? Is it higher than pigs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If y'all aren't avid squirrel hunters, look up a place, find a local place to go squirrel hunting because, and if you know somebody with dogs, just ask them if you can tag along because you do not know excitement until you hear some squirrel dogs baying and you are sprinting through greenbrier and rosebush and just trying to keep your clothes on as nature is pulling them off of you as well as skin and your fur.
Sounds like a Ted Nugent monologue here.
Oh, man.
But yes, it is a blast. I love squirrels.
Do you like to squirrel hunt with 22s or shotguns?
Shotguns?
Really?
Yeah, that's my favorite. I've got a old double barrel Sears and Roe buck that was my great grandfather's, been passed down, and that is a squirrel killing machine.
So you don't mind them having some shot in them?
No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it easy to get out for you normally, or is it just like one of them things where you just like, yeah, whatever, I'll work at it?
I eat it easily,
Do you?
tenderly. Yeah, I don't just when I go to bite into squirrel, I don't chomp down on it like I know it's a T-bone.
Yeah.
I
How you cook them? Fried?
fried dumplings. Man, you can grill them, you can smoke them. You got shrimp gumbo, you got squirrel gumbo.
When I cook squirrel, I always do something like that to where it's like the flavor is slightly concealed. I would like to experiment with a lot of different types of meats as just grilled meats to just really see what it's all about. You know what I mean? Because I think that there might be some things out there that we don't quite think about as being the premier, just raw, not raw meat, but you get what I'm saying. Type of meat that
Salt and pepper kind of deal.
might be better than what we really think it is.
I'll tell you one that isn't.
Don't.
Coot.
Oh, coot.
Cooked a coot when I was real young one time. Obviously had no clue how to cook. Over an open fire, no seasoning. Me and old Chris
Dude,
McIntosh.
everybody does something. I did that with ringneck one time. Just
Worst thing you could put in your mouth.
Just do it over a fire.
You might as well eat the briquette.
Did
You
you,
know what?
did you
Hear
leave
that-
the skin on it, or what was the trick to get the skin off?
On what?
That's what I'm wondering.
Ring-
A ring neck. Did you use a pressure washer?
Dude, I was a kid. I just cooked it and ripped it apart. I don't know.
The ring neck, getting the skin off a ring neck is one of the hardest things in the wild.
Don't coots have like a big gizzard? Isn't that the thing with coots though?
You might be right.
I think the gizzard is like 3 times the size of a duck gizzard, and that's what people eat on them is the gizzard.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Dude, it sounds good to me too. There's a
I love
bunch of kids right up
gizzards.
the road up here.
Dude, the limit's 15.
Yeah,
I
you
believe,
can-
or it used to be.
When in doubt, coot it out, man. We can get after it. That's what you do.
Dude, I might have to try one before I actually go to coot shooting.
Tyler isn't a fan. I think I could talk Hunter into it.
Coot
but
popping?
Coot popping.
There's some Nutri-Rats up here that are just be so easy to
I think
go
my
shoot.
dad's had Nutria before.
Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'll
Just-
eat it.
Be careful, they carry E. coli.
Yeah, so do pigs
Doesn't
though.
everything,
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
But
Can you not just cook that out of there?
Yeah, you can.
What's the temp?
I just say 165 for everything. It kills about everything.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
The
We're
problem
also-
with 165 though is you start getting tough.
Yeah, you do. That's
So-
why you got to stew it.
Stew.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Hopkins
would
County
definitely
stew
do.
right there.
Anyways, I actually am kind of hungry since we're talking about stew.
Yeah, me too.
So, why don't we go grab us a bite to eat here in
That
just a
sounds
second?
good.
Hunter, thanks for going hunting with us, dude.
Yeah, sorry
Hunter
we
the
did.
Hunter hunting today was a good time.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
We probably did about one of the lower things on your scale there. So I'm
it's
sorry
always a
about
blast. Hunting's not all about killing, man. It's about the getting out there with the people you like and experiencing the wild, and the nature, and all the God's beautiful creations and little creatures that we get to hunt.
That's right, man. That is right. The wild and the 25 tree stands we saw today. So.
Yeah. And all the tree trimmings we saw.
That's right. But yeah, it's a good take on it, dude. And I love it. I was telling, I think you or Tyler or somebody, like, I don't like these gloomy winter days, but if you get out and get to walk a whole bunch, it makes them a whole lot better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And they're really comfortable days to walk,
It was.
too. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it was a good day, man. I really enjoyed it, man. Like, I don't know. I think, like, you can go, like, a whole day and really be like, man, I really need to pull the trigger on this gun. Like, you know, and there's definitely a little bit of that going on. But after the season we had, you know, I was just glad to get out with friends because we kind of lone wolfed it a lot, man. You know,
White hunting's just that way.
yeah, and so it was nice to just get out there and talk a little bit. Chris was fun, Bam was fun, and Hunter was fun as well. And
I enjoy Hunter because he likes to rib a little bit, you know, so it goes pretty well.
I think we got too many rib shots on.
We
today.
got too many ribs. We didn't talk about this on the squirrel, but Hunter kind of gave me one of those you and runs with knees highs combo from last year with my squirrel. I shot the squirrel, and then he was dying in the tree, and Hunter just went ahead and shot him again just for good measure.
You can't leave them
Is
up
your
there.
squirrel back there?
Yeah, and a rabbit.
I didn't know. I hadn't even seen a
I
squirrel.
got some cleaning.
Is it a
to
fox
do
squirrel?
tonight. Yeah, it's a big,
Yeah,
big old
big
sow
one.
fox squirrel.
Have you not ever had them hang up on you? Man, they'll get that death
Yeah.
grip on there when they seize up,
Yeah.
and they are there. You can waste 2 boxes of shells trying to get them down, and they are on there like a locust
You ever
shell.
barked a squirrel? You heard about that?
Barking at them, getting them to come out.
No. Barked a squirrel. It's you take a 22. That's how I understand it. You get a squirrel that sits real close to a tree limb or tree trunk, probably, you know, and so that you don't mess the squirrel up, you know, like destroy a bunch of the meat. Technically, you shoot the like limb that he's on, if it's a sizable limb, and all the bark just pops up and kills him right there. Shock, you know, kind of like shock kills him. That's what I've heard. Never done it.
I feel like if you were accurate enough to do that, you could just shoot it in the head.
That's what I was thinking too. Somebody told me that, and I was like, I don't really understand this thing.
That sounds like a Brendan story for sure. I rung a shell, barked a squirrel, you know.
Unless you're wanting squirrel head soup.
No, I don't want none of that. No.
That's a
I got
good-
a fox head in here in my freezer, though.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm going to Euro that thing. I think that'd be a cool
Really?
Euro to have.
We're also thinking about we would love to Euro a paint.
That'd be real cool. We shot at some paints.
I tried to Euro paint that I shot, the last one I shot, and a cat stole the skull. So I never got to the full Euro stage, which I probably needed to boil it, you know, but I'm not much on that kind of stuff. I'm not very good at it or don't have the utensils. But we did shoot at a few paints today, and they were unsuccessful shots. Mm-hmm. Those things are whack. You're crazy,
It's
dude.
like that skeet that comes out of the thrower going all weird because it's got a broken side,
Yeah.
but then it's hard to hit because it just ain't like it's normally supposed to
Like,
be.
if you can imagine a butterfly that flies 20 miles an hour trying to hit that thing, that's what you're shooting at, man.
It's pretty good.
But anyway, it's a good day, man. Thanks for coming out, Hunter, and doing stuff and being so dedicated to the video camera until it was
Well, you know, I got
soaked.
tired of holding it, so that's why I threw it in the
Yeah.
water.
He did such a good job till about 10 a.m., and then it went wet. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys will get to enjoy some more content from Hunter here in the future. Hopefully, I don't know. I need to look through a lot of the footage because we started figuring out that there may be some extra stuff to put in, some videos from this year. Hunter had some pretty good encounters. It was tough to get some of it on video. You almost killed in Oklahoma. And I don't even know if we have any video really from there or not that makes much sense. But you had some really cool encounters with big groups of bucks in the late season in Texas and stuff like that. So we're going to try to put some stuff together on that end. And then obviously try to get him back on the podcast because I'm sure he's going to be one of the guys that gets requested again, kind of like a Butch Smith. You know what I mean?
We did both at the same time.
The world might explode, man. Universe. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls. I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like them. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.